We're back, and I want to introduce someone that I'm really proud to work alongside here at Surface, and that is Matias Blando, who is joining us from Oliveria. Did I say it right?
Uh,
Yes, a small town just outside of Buenos Aires, Argentina. And so Matias is a solutions engineer on our team, and he's honestly one of the most talented Asana specialists that I've ever met. I know, like when people say, Marquis, I love your videos. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. But like Matias is the mind behind a lot of those use cases. He builds a lot of them, puts them together, and has done that since the start of this year. And so we work together as a team, but Matias is the one that really conceptualizes all the use cases and brings them to the audience. So I owe a lot to him. And earlier I shared that he continues to educate our team on how to effectively use Asana. So you're in really, really good hands today. And so when it comes to building really efficient workflows, automating processes, Matias truly has a knack for turning really complex setups into streamlined functional systems. And so today, Maddie's going to be taking you through, like I said earlier, marketing intake processes using Asana. And this is something that we deploy pretty much every single day for our customers. I don't think there's ever been a customer where we haven't deployed some kind of intake process, whether it's at a PMO level or IT for like recruiting and onboarding, or marketing. There's so many different use cases, but what he's going to share will help you and your team reduce countless hours of manual work, automating a lot of the practical things that you have to do every single day. He's going to show you how to implement it in a really streamlined way. And so you're definitely going to want to pay attention to this because there's no one in this eco space that's better at building workflows than Matias. So join me in welcoming him to the stage. Maddie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Marquis. Okay,
Yeah.
well, hello, everybody. Well, as Marquis said, I'm Matias. I'm from Argentina. I'm a lead solutions engineer here at Surface. And I'm going to show you, first of all, a couple of slides. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so basically, today we're going to be covering three main topics, which are, first of all, the intake process itself. Then we're going to talk about advanced rules. And then, of course, a little bit about how Asana AI can be applied in rules. I know we discussed this in the panel discussion earlier today, but I'm going to show you in Asana what can you do with them. Okay, so first of all, the why behind an optimized and tailored intake process. So basically, this issue, which is like presented to us like by a lot of clients, it's because at the beginning they have a lot of requesters with different requests, of course, and the thing is that they don't have visibility on them. These requests can get lost. Leaders or managers cannot have full visibility on them. So basically, what they have is this lack of visibility. They cannot collaborate, right, between teams properly. So the way we decided to approach this issue and try to solve it is this is like a super high level flow of what we propose. I don't know if you remember, again, earlier today, we discussed about documenting the processes. And I mentioned that I really like to map the step-by-step of each process. So basically here, as you can see, we have multiple requesters and initiatives. Our idea is to make them all go through one single form, then to visualize them in an intake board, a main intake board, where using Asana rules and some other triggers that are custom fields, basically, we're going to have different projects that, if needed, if the teams need this, they can also be automatically added to a master portfolio or portfolios per different users, teams, or however you want to divide these folders. So when I say advanced rules, this is what I mean. So in the past, and there was one case earlier today that Marquis, you reviewed it with one of the attendees, that person had different rules, right? So with the new Asana Custom Rule Builder, what you can do is have one single rule with different conditions and different actions. So as you can see here, with one single rule, we can have like 16 different conditions, and you can add even more and have different actions. So basically, you're gonna be using one rule. You're gonna have everything in one rule, and a lot of different actions can be performed. Of course, Asana will be doing this. You just have to create the rules accordingly. And now let's go to Asana really quick. Let me know, Marquis, if you can all see Asana here.
I got it on my screen.
Perfect. Okay, so I don't know if you remember, just in the slide where I showed you different steps for the workflow, this will be like the main intake port, okay? Here's where all the requests are going to come in when you submit it using Asana form, the Asana form. So let's just start from scratch. So to locate an Asana form, you know this, you're gonna go to customize. And the good thing about Asana forms is that it's not only that you can have like the regular questions, but also you can add different branches when you create a form, depending on some selections. In this case, for example, just to show you, for example, we have a multi-select field here, right? Sorry, single select field. And depending on what you select, you might or might not have some different branches or conditions, if you will, just to add more information specific to each one of these requests, okay? So I'm gonna just send a quick request just to walk you through the entire flow. So this will be, Marquis, you're gonna be the one submitting it. Let's just say it's for marketing. It will be tier 2, test request. Let's just say it will be a social media post. I want to post it tomorrow. I'm gonna assign a priority and I'll submit it. So as you can see, what happened here, let me just wait, there you go. The submission will show up automatically in this section, which is new requests. Now, in the form settings, you can set, right, that every task added to the project using the form, you can set, okay, I want this task to be added to this specific section. And if not, you can also create rules for that. So every task added to the project should be sent to that specific section. As you can see, new task added, it will be sent to the new request section, the status will be modified, and it will be automatically assigned to me. So as you can see, here I'm just starting to present some advanced rules. In this case, one trigger, different actions in one single rule, okay? And basically, in the intake processes, ideally, you're gonna have different steps. As soon as the request is in the project, what I would like to do is just send it to the review stage. Just so, let's just say, I wanna assign it to someone else. I wanna add another subtask just to review the deliverables. So if I move a task right here, right now, nothing will happen because I didn't create the rule just to create subtasks to that specific parent task. The only thing that will happen is that the status will be modified. See? Okay, so let me go back a little bit to the sections, and as you can see, when I moved the task to the review section, nothing happened besides modifying this status, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how to create a super quick rule specifically for the review section. So I'm gonna go to add, I'm gonna create a new rule, and let's just say, when the test, of course, first of all, best practice is always name the rule so you can easily find it. So review section, perfect. So when the task is moved to the review section, okay, let's just say if it's, let's add another condition here. So if it's for the sales team, for example, I want you to assign the task to Marquis, for example, because he's the one in charge of sales right here. Now, let's just say I want to create another rule, like another action for marketing tasks. So in this case, again, it will be under the review section. I'm gonna add another condition, which is if the team is marketing, I want the task to still be assigned to me, but I want to create as like one specific subtask, which will be just review deliverable. and I want this task to be assigned to task B, and the due date will be, let's just say, 2 days in the future, okay? So let's just publish this rule super quick, and let's just find one task to test this. So marketing, okay. I'm gonna move it to review, and it should work. There you go. So the status will be updated. And there you go. You have the subtask right here, and it's assigned to task B, and it's due in 2 days in the future. Okay, so that's one rule that we can create. Now, this is where it gets super interesting, and this is what all our clients love. They love this. I'm assuming you know this, but with Asana rules, you can turn a task into a project. Okay, so we're also going to create that specific rule. But first of all, I need you to like understand that before creating the rule, what I did, I just created 3 dummy, if you will, project templates that are going to be the one that will be created right under this Asanathon demo portfolio, which is another like demo folder just for the purpose of this meeting presentation. Sorry. So let's do that. Let's create that rule. As you can see, I have another custom field here, which is tier. Okay, depending on the selection of this custom field, that's the project that will be created. So to create the rule, again, just go to create custom rule. Let's just call it convert task to project. There you go. And of course, the trigger in this case will be that the task is moved to the in progress section. Okay. And here's where I'm going to start adding the conditions again. So in this case, check if tier is 1. Let's add another one. Task is in section in progress. Tier is set to, and the last one, which is tier 3. Okay, perfect. Now let's go to the actions. Same thing. I'm going to go to here, all the way to the bottom of this menu. You're going to have the convert task to project. And here, instead of creating a blank project, I want to use a template. Let's just say tier 1 project. Okay. This is something that you should also consider, is that you have the option to automatically add the project to a specific portfolio. In this case, it will be a Asanathon demo. But the thing is that, there you go. I set this up in the template. So every time the template is used, it's automatically added to this project, to this portfolio. So it's basically the same. If you have that setting in the template, this step, it's not necessary. But just so you know, you can also do it from here. So let's do the same for tier 2 project. Is there any, are there any questions, Marquis? Because I see the pop-up over there, but I cannot see the questions.
One just came in. Are all the custom fields in this project from the fields in the form?
Not all of them. I mean, the ones that will be triggering rules, yes. I know, I don't know if you saw it, but I can just go back real quick to the form. But for example, in the form, we're going to have, first of all, the team that will be sending the request. We're going to have the tier and the priority, and of course, the deliverables. But if you remember, we have some branches in the form, and those questions that in some cases are custom fields, they are not here. Of course, you can add them. For example, if we go to the social, when we are expecting to post this social media post, that's not a custom field in the project. Same thing with type of email request. This is a single select field that it's not in the project, but you can of course add it. Something that's a great question. If you're going to use custom fields from the form, just ensure to add them. If you're going to use them for the rules, right, to trigger rules, just ensure to add them to the project. So that's a great question. Sorry, I forgot about that. Okay, so we created the rule, the tier rule, if you will. So now let's just review it one more time. Convert task to project. Depending on the tier that was selected, is the template that will be triggered. Okay, so let's just go ahead and move the tier 3 task here. So if let's just move these two tasks in progress. Now, let's just wait 1 second, because again, it might take a little bit. But shortly, we're going to be visualizing under this portfolio, this new project that were created. As you can see here, the rules are there. Perfect. There you go. So as you can see, the first one was turned into a project. And if you go to the project that was just created, you're going to see that it's not only under the Asanathon demo portfolio, okay, but also it has all the information from the submission in the project's overview, okay? Because this is something super important. And I need to add another thing here is that if you attach any files to the submission, okay, that won't show up in the project overview. So we have like a sort of workaround that, let's just say you have an attachment in the task. What we usually do is we just multi-home the task to the project that was just created. Okay, so let's just say I'll go back to the project. I'll just copy the project's link just to be like triple sure that I'm sending it to the right project. And I'll just multi-home it. Add to project. There you go. So now this task that let's think that, of course, let's assume it has a file attached. But if you go to the project again, the task will be in the list view, and you will be able to visualize all the information in here, like as you got it in the project. Okay, and another thing that you can do with Asana rules is another use case that we usually have for some clients is that in some cases they don't want to handle tasks as projects, and they want to just handle them as tasks, and that's it. So as you can see here, we have another project called external requests, and in this case that will be the trigger. Okay, so let's just say in here, let's just say this one is external instead of operations. So we have a rule, another rule that again, it's called external. Again, that this might be annoying, but I like to repeat it over and over and over. Just name the rules in a way that you can easily find them, because then it might get complicated if you have like 20 different rules in one project. So as you can see, if I'll just send a task a submission right now, but we have this rule that if the task is added to the project and the custom field team is set to external, the task will automatically be moved to the external request. It won't be in this project anymore, okay? So let's just send another submission super quick here. Queue form. And we'll select that test requesting team. In this case will be external, tier 2, test, image and PDF, medium priority, and let's submit it. So let's just go here super quick to see when it happens. So as you can see, here's the task. And if the rule is working, which is, it should be automatically moved to the other project. As you can see, there you go. It's not here anymore. And if we go to the external requests project, here you go. You have the task right here with the custom fields and all the information that you added to the submission. And here, of course, this is just another board where you can just move it around, play it around, add the review task rule, if you will. Okay. And again, the last and most important thing about having like an optimized, automated, and tailored intake process for you and your team is having everything under one master portfolio, where you can not only visualize the workload, like the amount of tasks that each user has been assigned to, or the estimated time that each user has assigned to, but also you will be able to create great dashboards with the information that you need to show, for example, to the leadership team or just to some managers that might require some specific information from you or your team. Okay. How we're doing with time? We're good. Okay. Are there any particular questions so far? Let me see if I have it in the chat.
There was one here. Actually, there are two here, Maddie. I just responded to one, but Monica was curious if you could just go over the custom field for the tiers again. Just wanted further clarification on what that represents and how it works into this workflow.
Perfect. Yeah. So in this particular case, uh, tier, you can set like the tier. In this case, for example, I set it to projects. Like if it's a tier 3 project, it will be like a long project in terms of timeline. Like it could be like more than 3 weeks. So if I go to the templates, Teams, Asanathon demo, as you can see right here at the bottom, we're going to have all the templates that we have for this particular team. So that's how you link them. Of course, I name the templates just like this, just to be able to easily find them when I'm creating the rule. But basically, you can add any custom field that you add to the project, you can link it to any rule. And that's how you're going to be defining, okay, I want this workflow to be based on this particular custom field. I will, like, another option could be that instead of the tier, I will select the team. So if it's operation, I trigger this template. If it's marketing, I trigger this. But that's basically dependent on each team and how they want to optimize their workflows. I don't know if that answered the questions.
Yeah, that's perfect. There's another question if you got time for it.
Hmm?
Yeah. Okay. So Jessica was asking, it's a good question. If you use a form to add project requests to the intake project, can the custom field be transferred to the new project once you convert the task to a project?
That's a great question, and you might visualize it in the portfolio. So under the list view, as you can see, I didn't add any deliverables here. They will automatically move from the form. So the most important thing about this is for you to, when you build the portfolio, just ensure that you add the same custom fields as you have in the project. And I know that I'm sure you know this, but if you want to have visibility on custom fields that you have in one particular project, always ensure to add them to the organization's library. Okay, because if you don't add them to the organization's library, you won't be able to visualize them in the portfolio in this case. But as you can see, like if you have those custom fields, sorry, populated in the form and in the project, they will show up here if you have them.
Sorry, Maddie. The question was about if those fields are inherited in the project that's converted from the task, not the portfolio itself. Yeah.
Sorry. So like, yeah, at the portfolio view, this is like how you get like the entire project will contain them as like the top level, but inside the project, they're not here. Like they're not here. Like they are not automatically moved here. And that's another reason why you could use the multi-homing workaround, because it's a workaround. If you want to have visibility on those custom fields, I don't remember which project, I think it was for Tony Stark. I love Marvel, sorry. So if you want to have visibility in those custom fields, you can just add those fields to the project and you're going to have them here, but you have to multi-home the task. It's not that they will be automatically added to the project's view.
What could you add the custom field on the project template and then would it populate when it gets
Yes.
converted? Or do you have to do,
Yes.
yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
If you add, yes. Yes, because like basically the information selected in the custom field in the form, I don't know how to make that clear, but it will be in the Asana Cloud, if you will. So if that task has that custom field in any project, it doesn't matter if it's the original one or the one that it's multi-home. If the information is in the original task, the information will show up wherever you add that custom field.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any more questions? I think it went too
Nothing we
fast.
have here. No, it's okay. Does anyone have any questions from the audience? Feel free to put your hand up and I can bring you onto the stage to ask questions about what Matias presented or any of your use cases. So we just had a comment here. So the data is always available. We just have to specify the custom fields in our templates. That's correct. Jessica has raised their hand. So Jessica, I'm going to bring you onto the virtual stage. Feel free to ask your question.
Hello.
So,
Let's see. I was wondering if there was any way to on rules, like if you have a portfolio and you added wanted to add a rule about when a project is supposed to start. Say, for instance, October 1st, my project is supposed to start. So I want to change a custom field to be change a custom field 1 week before that start date. Is that possible?
to set that custom field.
Say it
Hmm.
again.
No, like I'm trying to understand. You mean like when the project is created from the task, or are you talking about the task level?
The label.
So there is one thing, and Marky, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you add a date custom field to one of these tasks, in this case, for example, I could add the expected launch date, which is in the form. I'll just have to create it super quick. Expected posting date, I can just create it.
Jessica, just quickly, is the question, can you change the due date of a task when a custom field is changed, or are you asking for like the due date of the project when a field is changed?
I was asking as a more of a, I guess, a reminder for myself, like my project is about to start. So 1 week before this project needs to start,
Oh.
I want to like remind my team. So I like want to change this custom field 1 week before this project starts.
Yes,
Okay.
now I get it. Yes. So in this particular case, you should be looking at the due date field, okay? And let's just create one rule for that particular use case. So what we can do is just go to create a custom rule. And let's just say project start date upcoming, for example, or end date, yeah, or the due date. Yeah, you can just modify it later, but you can have rules based on the date custom field. So in this case, let's just say it will be running on tasks, okay? And here, so as you can see, you have this option, which is due date is approaching. So if you select that, and let's just say it's 1 week before, let's just say, well, in this case, let's not add any conditions so we can make it quicker, but let's just say I want to create a comment. Hey, let's see, like, for example, it could be by the assignee, default, this project should start in 1 week. Please, I don't know, move it to the in progress section. So now 1 week before this, like the project's due date, it's supposed to be there, this comment will be added and it will be tagging or mentioning the assignee. As you saw there, you can add different variables to the rule. So maybe you want to notify the assignee, maybe you want to modify, I don't know, any other user, you can just name it, add the name, and it will show up there. In this case, for example, let's just say not only the assignee, I want to also notify Marquis and myself. Is this what you were asking about how to notify the team?
I think that may get to the point I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds like we're closer to a resolution. Thanks, Matias. And thanks, Jessica, for coming on stage and asking the question. We've got a couple other questions coming in here in the side, Matias. So the first one is, what are your principles on staying on top of multiple key projects while not feeling overwhelmed or missing your commitments when you have many projects going on simultaneously?
So, like, what I like to do is, in this case, for example, if I go to the portfolio, in this case, I divided them, sorry, into the custom field, like project stage. But let's just say I want to prioritize and I want to say, okay, today I only want to focus on the high priority projects. I can have like this specific grouping view for on priority, and that's it. Like every time I want to go into the portfolio and review how everything is going, and again, I want to prioritize. Okay, today I'm only going to be working on these two projects. Of course, if any of these projects should be done tomorrow and I see that the progress is 0, well, that's something that I have to just take a look and say, okay, even though it might be, for example, in this case, even though if it's a low priority project, if I see that it's completely off track, so yeah, I'll go in there and just work on it. But I think this type of view where you can group projects using different custom fields or the status, I think that's a really good approach if you want to just know where to go, where to work on.
Thank you. Got another one here. Matias, when you're like we're looking at a portfolio right now, how would you go about organizing all of the different projects? Like, let's say you've got a marketing team that has intake requests, and then you've got a PMO department that's has their own intakes and requests. Let's just stick with marketing for a second. Let's say we have like different managers, right, that are overseeing paid media or design. What's the best way in portfolios to like organize all of those projects so that you can clearly see, the projects that pertain to each team or department?
Well, it will be, I don't want to say the exact same thing, but you could filter the views by team, for example. Let's just say I only want to filter it by marketing and I'm only going to see the marketing projects. Or let's just take it one step further. And again, I love grouping projects. So in this case, I will group them by team. Sorry, Asanathon, there you go. And this is what I'm going to see. And then I can just minimize it and just view the marketing stuff. But I think this is the best way. Again, you can filter. I love the grouping feature, but it's totally up to each user.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, another useful tip, you can create a dashboard per team, right? And in here, let's just say I want to see the marketing project. I just click on the marketing color, if you will, and it will take you to the marketing projects. That's another way to do it, yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great tip. Thank you for that. There's another question. Can you show a rule about duplicating a task?
Duplicating a task.
Not sure.
No.
Swetha, do you want to come on this stage? I'm not sure if this is a use case question.
But let's just test it out. Like, this is why we're here, right? We're all going to learn with this. So duplicate. I think it's not possible, honestly, but yeah, let's just see.
I wonder if this would be like deploying a task template or something.
Yeah, but you cannot trigger the task template with a rule either.
Yeah. So I'm in a situation where we review our projects every other week. And so I wanted to I try to set a recurring task, but it's based on the due date. And I want to be able to like display the recurring task like 4 days before so we can have more have the task show up earlier. But I want to keep the task description from the last week so we can just like, instead of people redoing their updates on there. So that's what I was asking about, if we could make a rule with like duplicating an existing task. Or is there a way to do a recurring task where you do it recurring by like the start date instead of the due date?
Like it will be like through a workaround. Like, for example, I don't know, Marquis, jump in if you think differently, but in that particular case, what I will do I will just create another custom, like one specific custom field that, let's just say, well, you can call it recurring task. That's it. And as soon as you update that custom field, a subtask is created or another task is created. That will be one workaround, but I'll have to like take a deeper look into that particular use case. But like, long story short, at this moment, you cannot duplicate tasks with rules. The only way is just to use a custom field or any other trigger just to create another task or another subtask.
But I could probably just, can I make a rule about recurring? I guess it'd be a task template then. You can do a rule with a task template. Okay.
Yes, but you cannot trigger task templates with rules. That's the thing.
Okay. Okay.
But this is, again, a workaround. But what we could do is, instead of triggering an actual task template, as you know, that to use a task template, you can just click here and you will add the task template if you had one. But in this particular case, if you want, we could just try to create like one rule for quote unquote task template. So let's just say, I don't know, priorities changed to any of this. And what I will do, I'll just create one task or subtask, but in this case, one task, recurrent task. I'll add the due date, let's say 3 days in the future. And of course, you can add some subtasks here, and this will act as a sort of task template without being an actual task template. That will be the way, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that might work.
I would say the same thing. And Monica has a question as well, that they have to copy and paste to duplicate tasks. There has to be a more efficient way. Yeah, I'd say the answer for now is what Matias said. Task templates are the best way. All right, perfect. All right, we've got 5 minutes. Maddie, is there anything else that you want to share? We've got, or if there's any more questions coming in, we've still got some time.
Oh, I'm seeing a question here. I think it's alum. Can you reopen that task and update the due date? You can, but the thing is that the project won't be updated. Like, you won't see that change reflected in the project. But yes, like, the way to reopen a task will be just to go in there and reopen it. Like, it's not ideal, but what you could do if you want to update the project due date, it's just like reopen it and go through the entire flow again. Well, not the entire flow. Let's just say you take it back to review and then you move it back to the in progress section. That will be like the solution, if you will. But let me add something, Marquis, because that question remind me about something, that the task's due date will be reflected in the project's due date. That will be the project's due date. Sorry about that. I didn't mention that, and it's super, super important. See? The due date is the same as the task. And let me ask a question to the audience, and I'll finalize with that. If you take that due date, and you use it in the project, like the project that is going to be triggered, how can you take advantage of that due date in the project? If you set the template correctly, what can you do with that template, with that due date?
Answer.
You know the answer?
You're going to have to answer it.
Okay, so let me share my screen again. Sorry, I just stopped sharing. Tony Stark, here you go. So when you create a template, a project template, in the settings, you can set that, for example, I don't know, this task. The task due date will be based on either the project start date or the due date. In this particular case, we'll be focusing on the due date. So let's just say before project's due date. And if I say, okay, this should be done, well, in this case, it will be the same day as the project close out, right? But you can take advantage of that. If you automatically have the due date added to the project created, if you set that the due date, sorry, in the tasks inside that project, the due dates in the task will be automatically populated. So you're going to be saving lots of hours of manual work. It will just like that was like the bonus track, if you will. But yeah, that will be it. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time, for listening, for your questions. And thank you, Marquis, for allowing me to be here. It's an honor.
An honor to have you on the stage. Thanks so much, Maddie.